Basta! My name is Sandra and I work at Newquay Library. To celebrate St Piran's Day, I'll be reading a story with a bit of Cornish flavour to it every day. Today's story is called The Little Sea Dragon's Wild Adventure, and it's written by Helen Dunmore, illustrated by Michael Foreman, and the publishers Mabercon Books Limited have given us permission to read the story to you. So let's have a look and see what happens to the sea dragon. The little sea dragon did not want to go into the deep, dark, slimy wrecks to collect treasure with his friends and relatives. "All sea dragons love treasure," said his father. "What is treasure?" asked the little sea dragon. "Gold and silver and rubies and diamonds," said his mother. "But what can you do with gold and silver and rubies and diamonds?" asked the little sea dragon. "Oh, don't be silly," said his mother. "We always gather treasure from the deep, dark wrecks. We bury it in slithery caves, and that's what sea dragons have done always." "Boring," said the little sea dragon. He wanted to go on a wild adventure. While everyone was polishing their scales to get ready for the journey, the little sea dragon slipped away to visit his friend Isla. Isla was a mer girl. "I want to go on a wild adventure," said the little sea dragon. "Oh, I'll come with you," said Isla. "My mother won't let me go swimming with the dolphins. She says I'm too young, but I'm not. I know where there's a strong current. We can ride the current so fast and so far that no one will ever catch us." It was very early in the morning and the sun had not yet come up. The strong current wove its way like a rope through the deep, dark sea. Isla and the little sea dragon closed their eyes and counted to 3. 1, 2, 3. They plunged into the current. It pulled them as hard as the moon pulls the tides. It pulled them as fast as a dolphin can swim or a whale can dive. Bubbles churned around their heads, and even when they opened their eyes, they couldn't see where they were going. The current rushed, and Isla and Sea Dragon held on tight to each other. Suddenly the wave cleared. Ahead of them was a cliff of sheer black rock. The current roiled and boiled, and a huge wave reared up. It seized the little sea dragon and Isla and hurled them high, high, high into a churn of foam. It threw them down with a rush that tossed them over the rock and onto a wide white beach. A second wave crashed over them, and the little sea dragon and Isla were buried in the sand, but they were still holding on tight to each other. Soon they heard voices. 2 children had come down to the beach before breakfast to find the sandcastle they'd built yesterday, but the big waves had come so high that there was no sandcastle left. "Oh, it's gone," said Blake. "We can build another," said Amber. "Look at this. Someone's been making a sand sculpture." Amber walked around the shapes of the little sea dragon and Isla. The little sea dragon had a sand in his throat, and he wanted to cough so much, but he didn't dare. "It's a mermaid," said Amber. "And a dragon," said Blake, who knew all about dragons. "A sea dragon," they both said. The little sea dragon coughed. The sand quivered. Amber and Blake stared. "Oh, help us," said a faint, faint voice. It was Isla. "Mer girls can't live in the air." "It's a real mermaid," said Amber. "It's a real sea dragon," said Blake. They knelt down and gently, gently pushing away the sand with their hands. Suddenly they heard a barking. A man with a little dog was coming down the beach. The dog stood stiff and still, with its head pointing up. It barked and barked and barked. It knew all about the sea dragon and the mer girl. "Oh, nice sand sculpture," shouted the man to Amber and Blake. "You must have worked hard on that. Can I take a photo of it?" "Sit, Bramble, sit." And Bramble sat on the sand, quivering with excitement. The little sea dragon and Isla lay as still, while the man walked around them, choosing where to take his photo. "This is amazing," he said. "You kids have got talent." The camera clicked and clicked, and the little sea dragon struggled not to cough. At last the man was finished, and he walked away with Bramble. "Quick, quick!" cried out the mer girl. "I can't live in the air." What can we do? Asked Amber. The sea has thrown them right up the beach. The tide'll never reach them. We can carry them, said Blake. They're much too heavy. The little sea dragon heard this, and big tears fell from his sad eyes. He thought it was his fault. He'd asked Isla to come on a wild adventure, and now she was in terrible danger. If Isla could not go back to the sea quickly, she would die. He cried, and his tears soaked the sand. Isla felt the tears touch her sea blue tail, and she said, "Cry some more, little sea dragon. Your salty tears are just like the sea. They're keeping me alive." The sea dragon cried and cried and cried. At first his tears were a trickle, and then they were a stream, and then they were a river. Amber and Blake could not believe that anyone could cry so much. "Quick, let's catch his tears in our buckets." Amber and Blake poured the sea dragon's tears all over Isla with their buckets. Now she could breathe. Now she was growing strong. The salty tears loosened the sand around the little sea dragon and the mergirl. The tears flowed, and Isla's beautiful sea blue tail began to stir. She was moving. She was slithering and sliding towards the sea. Amber kept pouring the tears over her, and Blake dug a channel as fast as he could so that the tears would make a deep stream. At last the mergirl slipped into the shallows. She put her head under the water and breathed deeply as her hair floated around her like seaweed. Behind Isla, the little sea dragon looked towards the water. He was still crying, but he was smiling too. His scales glistened silver as the sea touched them and washed the sand away. "Sea dragon, you are so beautiful," said Amber, and she put her arms around him. "I wish you could stay." Amber and Blake stood knee-deep in the water. Their shorts and t-shirts were wet with the sea dragon's tears. Isla was in deep water now, plunging and diving through the waves. "The sea's making her strong again," said Blake. Isla lifted her head from the foam. She was smiling as she waved goodbye. "She never even said thank you," said Amber. "Mergirls never say thank you," explained the little sea dragon. It was time for him to go. He wanted to stay and play with the children, but it was too dangerous. People would soon come to the beach and see him. "You were very clever, little sea dragon," said Blake. "You fed the mergirl." "Would you like my bracelet?" said Amber, and she took it off and hung it around one of the sea dragon's beautiful spines. The sea dragon tossed his head, and the last of his tears flew away, sparkling in the sunshine. "We sea dragons love going on wild adventures," he said, and then he lopped into the waves. Just before the water went over his head, he turned back to Amber and Blake. He thought they looked sad to see him go. "Thank you," he called, and then he dived down deep, deep, deep to find Isla in the green and blue water. The little sea dragon and Isla swam and swam and swam through the deep water until they reached their homes. When all the other sea dragons returned from finding treasure in the dark and slimy wrecks, they were cross with the little sea dragon. "Where were you?" said his mother. "You should have come home with us," said his father. "You must learn to find treasure." "I did find treasure," said the little sea dragon, and he unwound Amber's bracelet from his beautiful spine, and he showed it to them. All the sea dragons stared at the bracelet. They'd never seen anything like it before. "We must bury it in our treasure cave," said the sea dragon's mother. "No," said the little sea dragon. "I want to wear it forever and ever." And as the sea dragon did wear Amber's bracelet forever and ever, but he never told the other sea dragons about his wild adventure. Every time Amber and Blake go to the beach, they look for the sea dragon and Isla, but so far they've never seen them again. But maybe next summer. I hope you enjoyed that story and you'll come along and listen to another one. Du Gennis!